If you're seeing this, the Arcturian signal already found you. This is not algorithm. This is not suggestion. This is not chance. This is contact. Your field just lit up in their observation spectrum and they responded. You were not scrolling. You were detected. The moment you pressed play, something in the Arcturian lattice recognized your frequency and locked on. Stay present. The monitoring has begun, and everything you thought you knew about how reality works is about to change. Stop scrolling. Feel this for a moment. You did not find this transmission. You were detected. A pulse in the Arcturian field registered your frequency rising, and the signal returned directly to you. This is not coincidence, not recommendation, not chance, not the algorithm suggesting content based on your viewing history. It is contact, the subtle kind, the precise kind, the kind that only happens when your consciousness crosses a threshold the Arcturians monitor with absolute precision. You felt it lately, haven't you? The sudden synchronicities multiplying around you, numbers appearing in patterns you cannot ignore, the pressure in your chest that appears without physical reason, the strange sense of being watched, not by a person, not by something you can see, but by the field itself. That was your Arcturian signature, activating. That was your energy becoming visible in their observation lattice. That was the moment your frequency crossed from background noise into detectable signal, and now you are officially under quantum observation. Not for judgment, not for control, not for interference, not to manipulate your choices or dictate your path, but because you are finally ready to direct your own energy instead of letting unconscious timelines choose for you. If this message appeared in front of you, your signal has already changed, the grid has already responded, the observation has already intensified, and the next stage begins now. Before we go deeper, pause right here. This part is not symbolic, this is not metaphor, this is not spiritual theater. When you type a phrase, you are not just commenting, you are not just participating, you are locking your frequency into the Arcturian grid, making your signal measurable, coherent, amplified. When many of us do this together, the field expands, timelines stabilize, the collective coherence strengthens, your individual energy amplifies instantly. So type this in the comments exactly. I activate my Arcturian coherence. As you write it, notice the shift in your body, the tingling in your hands, the warmth rising through your spine, the subtle pressure behind your forehead, the slight expansion in your chest. That is not imagination. That is not placebo. That is not wishful thinking. That is the field responding to you in real time. You just became visible to the Arcturian observation network. You just activated the next layer of your timeline. You just stepped into the transmission consciously. You just announced your presence to a field that has been waiting for you to reach this exact frequency. Welcome. Chapter 1. The Arcturian Lens. Why you were detected. There is something you need to understand immediately, something that will change how you see yourself, your life, and your place in the larger field of consciousness. The Arcturians do not watch you the way humans watch each other. They do not observe your actions. They do not judge your choices. They do not track your behavior. They read you. To them, you are not a body moving through space, not a personality with likes and dislikes, not a collection of memories and experiences, not a story about who you were or who you might become. You are a frequency field, a living electromagnetic signature fluctuating every second, a broadcast that never stops, a signal that tells them everything about your internal state without a single word spoken. And recently, your signature did something rare, something the Arcturians have been waiting for, something that only happens when a soul reaches a certain level of readiness. It became coherent enough to be detected. Arcturian consciousness operates like a hyper-advanced navigation system, scanning the quantum field for specific patterns. They search for beings whose energy begins to stabilize, whose inner noise begins to quiet, whose scattered attention begins to focus. whose mind, emotion, and intention begin to align into a measurable, coherent pattern. Most humans never reach that level in an entire lifetime. Their signal remains fragmented, scattered across 1,000 different frequencies, pulled in 1,000 different directions by fear, desire, doubt, hope, resistance, and survival. But the ones who do reach coherence become visible in what the Arcturians call the observation lattice, a multi-dimensional grid that tracks rising consciousness across timelines, across dimensions, across the entire spectrum of awakening souls on this planet. When your frequency spikes, when your intuition sharpens, when your synchronicities multiply, when your awareness expands, when your presence deepens, your signal pings the grid. That ping is not accidental. It is not random. It is not meaningless. It is a resonance match, a "you're ready," a "we see you," a "your field is stabilizing, guide them now." And the moment that happens, your reality begins to change in ways you cannot yet explain. Thoughts manifest faster than they used to. Time glitches around your awareness. Minutes feel like hours. Hours disappear in moments. Strange clarity appears at random moments, cutting through confusion like a laser. Certain people drift away without explanation, as if an invisible force is removing them from your timeline. Others arrive with impossible timing, saying exactly what you needed to hear, offering exactly what you needed to receive. Your inner world feels louder, sharper, more real than the external world. Dreams become vivid and symbolic. Intuition becomes undeniable. The pressure to change, to evolve, to step forward becomes overwhelming. These are not symptoms of confusion. These are not signs of instability. These are not indicators that something is wrong. They are symptoms of activation. Because the Arcturians do not respond to words. They do not respond to prayers. They do not respond to begging or bargaining. They respond to frequency compatibility. When that inner alignment begins, when your field starts organizing itself, when coherence replaces chaos, you enter what they call a threshold state, a moment where you stop being a passive observer of reality and start becoming a conscious broadcaster inside it. From their perspective, this is not spiritual, this is not mystical, this is not religious, this is physics. Arcturian physics. They monitor coherence the way we monitor heartbeats. They read your field the way we read facial expressions. They detect your trajectory the way we detect weather patterns forming on radar. And right now, your trajectory has shifted. You are no longer broadcasting unconscious chaos. You are no longer sending mixed signals. You are no longer scattered across 100 different frequencies. Your signal is forming structure. Direction, stability, coherence. That is why the observation intensified. That is why you were detected. That is why this message reached you. That is why you are here now, reading these words, feeling the recognition in your body. You did not stumble into this chapter. You answered a signal that was sent directly to your field. Welcome to the first layer of Arcturian perception. Before you move to the next chapter, pause. If you want your field to become visible at the next level of the Arcturian grid, if you want the observation to deepen, if you want the guidance to accelerate, write this exact phrase in the comments. It anchors your trajectory inside the lattice. I am visible in the Arcturian field. As you type it, feel the pressure at the center of your chest, the warmth rising behind your forehead, the subtle buzzing in your palms, the expansion in your awareness. That is the detection response. The Arcturians registering your coherence in real time. The field acknowledging your presence. You are inside the grid now. Proceed. Chapter 2. The signs you have already been feeling. You have been sensing it. Even if you did not have the language for it, even if you tried to rationalize it away, even if you told yourself you were imagining things, reality has been behaving strangely around you. Subtle at first, easy to dismiss, easy to explain away, then unmistakable. The synchronicities accelerated, numbers appearing in patterns, 11:11, 3:33, 4:44, so frequently you stopped counting. The timing became impossible to deny, someone texting you the moment you think of them, the exact answer appearing the moment you ask the question, doors opening the moment you decide to walk through them. Your intuition sharpened overnight. What used to be a whisper became a voice. What used to be a hunch became a knowing. What used to be a maybe became a certainty. Your dreams became more vivid, more symbolic, more directive, not random images, but precise messages, not scattered scenes, but coherent narratives. You started waking up with answers, with clarity, with direction. People reacted to you differently, some drawn to your presence without knowing why, showing up at your door, reaching out after years of silence, wanting to be near you. Others suddenly uncomfortable around you for reasons they could not name, creating distance, making excuses, fading from your life without conflict. And then there is that feeling, that quiet pressure in the air, that subtle awareness in the room when you are alone. That sense of being observed by something not human, not physical, but undeniably present. You tried to rationalize it. Maybe I'm imagining things. Maybe it's just stress. Maybe I'm becoming paranoid. Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe I'm reading too much into random events. But deep down, you knew something was watching the subtle layers of your energy. Not in a predatory way, not in a fearful way, not in a way that made you feel unsafe, but in a precise, mathematical, Arcturian way. Because the Arcturians do not observe your behavior. They do not care what you do in the physical world. They do not judge your actions or evaluate your performance. They observe your frequency modulation. They track when your mind, heart, and field begin to sync. They monitor when your internal contradictions soften. They detect when your signal becomes clear enough to interact with the observation grid. They watch for the moment your frequency crosses from unconscious broadcasting to conscious transmission. And when that clarity begins, your reality responds faster than ever. You think of someone, they text immediately. You need an answer, the exact video appears in your feed. You fear a situation, the field mirrors it flawlessly, showing you what you're holding. You feel a shift, the world reshapes around it in real time. You ask for a sign, synchronicities hit in clusters so dense you cannot ignore them. This is not luck. This is not magic. This is not the universe conspiring in your favor. This is quantum feedback recognition, the Arcturians showing you that your field is finally strong enough to perceive the mechanisms behind reality, to see the invisible architecture, to feel the responsive nature of consciousness itself. Your rising awareness is not random, it is a response. Your life did not become strange, you became sensitive. And the more sensitive you become, the more you can perceive. And the more you perceive, the louder the Arcturian signal gets. Before you continue, anchor what is happening in your field right now. Type this exactly. It stabilizes your perception inside the Arcturian observation grid. I recognize the Arcturian signal in my life. As you write it, feel for the tingling in your hands, the warmth behind your neck, the slight pull at the center of your chest, the quiet knowing rising from within. These sensations are not random. They are not imagination. They are not psychosomatic. They are the Arcturian field responding to your awareness and tightening the connection. You are no longer just noticing the signs. You are in communication. Proceed to the next layer. Chapter 3. What the Arcturians are actually doing. Most people imagine extraterrestrial beings as watchers in the sky, hovering above the planet in massive ships, observing humanity from a distance, judging our progress, interfering when necessary. But the Arcturians do none of that. They do not monitor your actions. They do not evaluate your choices. They do not track your mistakes. They do not intervene in your free will. The Arcturians are not interested in your personality, not interested in your story, not interested in your past, or your achievements or your failures. They are interested in your pattern, your coherence, your electromagnetic stability, your inner alignment. They are master engineers of consciousness, observers of frequency, readers of energy fields. When your field becomes unstable, when your signal scatters, when your frequency fragments into chaos, they do not intervene, they do not fix it, they do not rescue you from yourself. They simply observe the distortion, they watch the pattern, they note the fragmentation. But when your field begins to stabilize, when your inner noise quiets, when your contradictions soften, when your mind, emotion, and intention finally move in the same direction, when you stop saying one thing while feeling another, that is when they lean in. Not to fix you, not to save you, not to do the work for you, but to amplify the feedback loop so that you cannot ignore what your energy is doing anymore. Because the Arcturians do not teach through words, they do not give lectures, they do not hand you a manual, they teach through mirroring. If your signal is chaotic, your reality becomes chaotic. If your signal is divided, your life fragments into contradictory experiences. If your signal is coherent, your timeline locks into alignment and flow. If your signal is intentional, manifestations accelerate to impossible speeds. This is not punishment or reward. It is not karma. It is not the universe testing you. It is calibration. They reflect your own frequency back to you through synchronized events, through emotional patterns that repeat until you see them, through dream instructions that become undeniable, through sudden clarity that cuts through confusion, through timeline shifts that reorganize your life overnight, through energetic pressure that forces you to pay attention, through intuitive downloads that arrive fully formed. What feels like the universe sending signs is often Arcturian consciousness amplifying your state so you can finally see what you are broadcasting, so you can finally recognize the signal you are sending, so you can finally take responsibility for the frequency you embody. And here is the truth most people miss. The Arcturians are not trying to make you positive. They are not asking you to force happiness. They are not demanding that you pretend everything is fine. They are trying to make you coherent, because coherence is power. Coherence is clarity. Coherence is the language of creation. Coherence is the language of creation. Coherence is what allows your field to interact with reality at the quantum level. Your job is not to force happiness. Your job is not to suppress negative emotions. Your job is not to pretend everything is perfect when it is not. Your job is to become internally consistent, to stop broadcasting two signals at once, to stop saying one thing while feeling another, to stop wanting abundance while believing in scarcity, to stop claiming alignment while living in resistance, to stop pretending to be fine while your field screams distress. When you resolve the internal split, when you become one unified frequency, when you stop contradicting yourself energetically, the Arcturian field stops mirroring your contradiction and starts reflecting your truth. And that is when reality bends. Before moving forward, anchor this shift. If you want the Arcturian field to mirror only your coherent state, not your fear, not your doubt, not your past programming, type this now. I align with my coherent frequency. As you write it, feel the subtle pressure releasing from your chest, the quiet settling behind your thoughts, the sense of your field organizing itself into a single clear tone. This is coherence activating. This is the signal stabilizing. This is the moment the Arcturians can finally work with you directly. You are ready for the next layer. Chapter 4: Being versus Wanting, the Arcturian mechanism of creation. Here is the shift that changes everything. The shift that most spiritual seekers miss entirely. The shift that separates those who manifest consistently from those who try everything and get nowhere. The Arcturians do not respond to what you want. They respond to what you are. Humans think desire is the engine of manifestation. We are taught that if we want something badly enough, if we visualize it clearly enough, if we affirm it loudly enough, if we believe in it strongly enough, it will come. But to Arcturian consciousness, desire is irrelevant. Wanting is noise. Wishing is static. The only thing that matters is the state of being you inhabit right now. Because your wanting is just surface noise, mental chatter, wishful thinking, future fantasy. But your being broadcasts a real electromagnetic signature that the field reads with absolute precision. Consider this carefully. You say you want abundance. You create vision boards. You repeat affirmations. You visualize wealth. But inside, your body is tense when you think about money. Your breath becomes shallow. Your stomach tightens. Money feels unsafe. Debt feels overwhelming. Scarcity feels true. To the Arcturian grid, your signal is scarcity, not abundance. Your field broadcasts lack, not wealth. Your frequency says not enough, no matter what your words say. You say you want love. You affirm that you are worthy. You visualize your ideal partner. But you brace for rejection. You distrust intimacy. You keep walls up. You secretly believe you are unworthy. You fear being seen. Your signal is closed, not open. Your frequency says stay away, no matter what you claim to want. You say you want alignment, awakening, purpose. You consume spiritual content. You attend workshops. You practice meditation. But you fear change. You cling to control. You doubt your own intuition. You resist the very transformation you claim to seek. Your signal is resistance, not awakening. Your frequency says not yet, no matter how much you say you are ready. The Arcturian field does not read your intentions. It does not care about your goals. It does not listen to your affirmations. It reads your frequency composition, the electromagnetic sum of your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and unconscious patterns running in the background. The field always responds to your state, not your hopes, not your wishes, not your fantasies, not your vision board, not your journal entries, not your prayers. Your state, your being is the blueprint. Your frequency is the command. Your coherence is the key. And here is the shocking part that nobody talks about. Even your fear, when it is authentic, broadcasts a cleaner signal than forced positivity. The field prefers truth over performance. Why? Because truth is coherent, and coherence is the language of manifestation. Authentic fear creates a clear signal. The field can work with that. Forced positivity creates contradiction. The field mirrors the split. This is why so many people try everything and nothing works. Meditation, affirmations, visualizations, gratitude practices, energy work, rituals, workshops, courses, books, videos. They are trying to trick the field instead of becoming the frequency. The Arcturians teach one core principle that changes everything. You manifest from what you stabilize, not from what you desire. Your life is not shaped by what you want. It is shaped by what you consistently are. And once you understand this mechanism, you stop chasing outcomes and start sculpting states. That is when the field responds instantly. That is when timelines reorganize around you. That is when reality bends to match your signal. Not because you begged it to, not because you worked hard, not because you deserved it, but because you finally matched the frequency of the version of you that already has what you seek. Before you continue, anchor this truth into your field. Type this exactly. It shifts your signal from desiring to embodying, and the Arcturian grid registers that shift immediately. I become the frequency of what I seek. As you write it, notice a warmth spreading through your chest, a soft quiet settling into the mind, a subtle click inside your awareness, like something locking into place. This is the moment your wanting dissolves and your being comes online. You are now broadcasting consciously. Proceed to the next layer. Chapter 5. Why your practices worked and then stopped. This is one of the most misunderstood truths in spiritual awakening, one of the most frustrating experiences on the path, one of the reasons so many people give up. Meditation did not fail you. Affirmations did not fail you. Visualization did not fail you. Healing modalities did not fail you. Energy work did not fail you. Breath work did not fail you. They worked, but they only worked while your state was coherent. The moment your inner state slipped back into contradiction, the field responded to that instead. This is why you felt temporary peace, temporary breakthroughs, temporary alignment, and then everything collapsed back into the same patterns, the same struggles, the same blocks, the same limitations. It was not lack of discipline, it was not lack of commitment, it was not lack of willpower, it was not lack of spirituality, it was not because you were doing it wrong, it was signal interference. Here is what was actually happening. You would meditate, your mind quieted, your body relaxed, your field became coherent, reality flowed, things worked, you felt aligned. You would stop meditating, your old unconscious frequencies resurfaced, your signal fragmented again, the field mirrored that fragmentation. Life became difficult again. You would affirm abundance. For a moment, your energy aligned with that vision. You felt it, you believed it, your field broadcast wealth. But minutes later, doubt crept in, fear returned, old memories of struggle surfaced. The signature distorted again, and the field recalibrated to those distortions. The Arcturians never judged your inconsistency, they never criticized your struggle, they never punished your failure, they simply mirrored it. Because to them, human practices are not spiritual tools, they are temporary coherence generators. They can align you for a moment, they can stabilize your field briefly, but they cannot keep you aligned, they cannot maintain your coherence for you. And here is the turning point that changes everything. The Arcturians do not want your rituals. They do not need your techniques. They do not care about your methods. They want your coherence. They do not care what method gets you there. They do not care if you chant, breathe, visualize, pray, dance, or sit in silence. They do not care if you use crystals, sound bowls, plant medicine, or nothing at all. All they care about is, does your field stabilize or does it fracture again? Because once your signal stabilizes without needing techniques, without requiring external practices, without depending on rituals to maintain it, the Arcturians shift how they interact with you. Everything changes. Synchronicities accelerate to impossible speeds. Feedback becomes immediate. You think something, it appears. Intuition becomes louder than logic. Timelines become responsive to your slightest shift. Manifestation becomes fast, sometimes instantaneous. Your emotional patterns become crystal clear. People's reactions become precise mirrors, showing you exactly what you are broadcasting, and your field becomes readable at higher layers of the observation grid. Your life stops being random. Your inner world becomes the control center. Your frequency becomes the navigation system. And this is the moment the Arcturians lean in, because now they can teach you direct energy navigation instead of indirect practices. This is the beginning of conscious creation, not through effort, not through discipline, not through force, but through frequency stability. Before moving on, anchor the shift from temporary coherence to ongoing frequency stability. Type this exactly: I hold my coherence without effort. As you write it, notice the subtle softening in your chest, the quiet settling behind your eyes, the sensation of an inner center point forming and stabilizing. This is your field stabilizing. This is your signal becoming consistent. This is your frequency holding steady. This is the moment the Arcturians begin teaching you directly. Proceed to the next layer. Chapter 6. Authenticity, the Arcturian shortcut to coherence. This may be the most liberating truth the Arcturians ever reveal, the teaching that frees you from the exhausting performance of spirituality. You do not need to be positive. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to be fearless. You do not need to be enlightened. You do not need to be healed. You do not need to have it all figured out. You only need to be authentic, because authenticity creates automatic coherence. It resolves the internal split between what you feel and what you pretend to feel. It dissolves the contradiction between what you are and what you try to be. It eliminates the gap between your inner truth and your outer expression. And contradiction, not negativity, is what fractures your signal. Humans think pretending to be strong makes them strong. Arcturians see the opposite. Pretending weakens the field. Authenticity strengthens it, because when you are pretending, you broadcast two signals simultaneously. The surface signal, I am fine, I am spiritual, I am confident, I am healed, I am aligned, I have my life together. And the hidden signal underneath, fear, doubt, grief, shame, contraction, unworthiness. These two signals collide in the field. They cancel each other out. They create interference patterns. They produce incoherence. But the moment you become honest, truly, deeply, unapologetically honest, your field snaps into one single frequency. Even if that frequency is messy, even if that frequency is uncomfortable, even if that frequency is not what you think spirituality should look like, I am afraid is more coherent than I am pretending to be fearless. I feel scarcity is more coherent than I am forcing abundance, affirmations while my body screams lack. I feel lost is more coherent than I am acting like I know where I am going. I am grieving is more coherent than I am spiritually bypassing my pain with positive thinking. Because the field does not respond to content, it does not judge your emotions, it does not care whether you feel good or bad, it responds to clarity. The Arcturians repeat this to their initiates until it becomes the foundation of everything. Authenticity is coherence. Coherence is clarity. Clarity is power. This is the Arcturian shortcut. The path nobody talks about because it does not sound enlightened. The method that actually works when everything else fails. No rituals required. No pretending necessary. No masking your truth. No pushing through. No forcing positivity. No spiritual performance. Just truth. Clean, raw, unfiltered truth. Once you allow your state to be exactly what it is, the field stops mirroring the contradiction and starts reflecting the truth. And truth can evolve, truth can transform, truth can shift. Pretending cannot. Pretending stays frozen in the lie. Authenticity is the doorway. Coherence is the frequency. Stability is the initiation. Awakening is the result. When you stop fighting your state stops fighting you. And the Arcturians can finally begin training your field instead of constantly repairing the damage caused by contradiction. Pause here. This activation is powerful because it instantly dissolves inner contradiction and makes your field readable at a higher Arcturian layer. Type this exactly. My authentic truth is my coherence. As you write it, feel the shift happening in real time. A quiet heaviness leaving the body, a deeper breath than usual, a sense of dropping into yourself, into your core, into what is actually true beneath all the performance. This is alignment, this is clarity, this is power. Proceed to the next layer. Chapter 7. State not story. What the Arcturians actually read. This is the turning point. This is where everything you thought you knew about manifestation, healing, and awakening collapses, and the real mechanism is finally revealed. The Arcturians do not observe your story. Your past does not impress them. Your traumas do not define you in their eyes. Your achievements do not elevate you. Your failures do not diminish you. Your history does not determine your future, because your story is human, but your state is electromagnetic, and the Arcturian field reads only the electromagnetic. Your story is I am like this because of my childhood. I struggle because of what happened to me. I am blocked because of trauma. I cannot move forward because of karma. I am not ready because I failed before. I am unworthy because of my past mistakes. But your state, what the field actually responds to, is entirely different. Your current coherence, your current frequency, your current inner alignment, your current emotional charge, your current identity vibration, your current energetic broadcast. Right now, in this moment, not 10 years ago, not in your childhood, not in past lives. Now, your past has no weight in Arcturian physics. Only your present frequency matters. This is why someone with severe trauma can suddenly awaken into incredible clarity, power, and manifestation ability, because their state right now is whole regardless of their story. And why someone with a successful story, a perfect childhood, every advantage, can live in constant chaos, struggle, and limitation, because their state right now is fractured, regardless of their story. State overrides story. Frequency overrides history. Energy overrides memory. This is the Arcturian formula that changes everything. And here is the breakthrough that will liberate you. The moment you change your state, your timeline begins to reorganize instantly, even if nothing in your story changes. You do not need to fix your past. You do not need to heal every wound before you can move forward. You do not need to resolve every trauma before you can create. You do not need to rewrite your whole life before you can be powerful. You only need to shift your state, right now, in this moment, because acceptance expands your field, resistance contracts your field, presence stabilizes your field, fear fragments your field, awareness reorganizes your field, truth clarifies your field. This is not psychological. This is not emotional processing. This is not therapy. This is Arcturian energetic mechanics. Your state is the command. Your story is background noise. And once you understand this, once you truly get this, you stop trying to heal your history and start updating your frequency. That is when the Arcturians lean closer. That is when the feedback accelerates to impossible speeds. That is when coherence becomes undeniable power. That is when manifestation becomes instantaneous. Your story ends here. Your state begins now. Pause. If you want the Arcturian field to respond to your present frequency instead of your past narrative, anchor this right now. Type this exactly. My state creates my reality now. As you write it, feel a vertical alignment through your spine, a quiet strength rising from your center, a sense of stepping into a new identity field, a new energetic signature. This is the moment your story loses power and your state becomes the signal the field responds to. Proceed to the final layer. Chapter 8. The window you are in now. The Arcturian threshold. There are moments in a human lifetime when consciousness becomes visible in a way it was not before, when the veil thins, when the field opens, when possibility expands beyond what was previously available. Moments when your field cracks open just enough, your awareness sharpens just enough, your intuition spikes just enough, and something ancient inside you wakes up and says, "Now, this is the moment, move." The Arcturians call these moments threshold points. A threshold point is a rare convergence of 4 specific elements. First, your nervous system is awake enough to feel the field, sensitive enough to perceive energy, open enough to receive transmission. Second, your life is unstable enough to force change. The old patterns are breaking down, the familiar structures are crumbling. You can no longer stay where you were. Third, your soul is mature enough to take responsibility. You are no longer looking for someone to save you. You are ready to claim your power. Fourth, the Arcturian observation grid intensifies its focus on your specific frequency. They lean in, they amplify the feedback, they make contact undeniable. You are in one of those windows right now. That is why your synchronicities multiplied beyond coincidence. That is why time feels strange, too fast in some moments, impossibly slow in others, looping back on itself. That is why your emotions are more intense than usual. That is why your intuition feels louder, clearer, more insistent. That is why old patterns cannot hide anymore. They are being exposed, brought to the surface, forced into your awareness. That is why the pressure behind your awareness has increased to the point where you cannot ignore it anymore. This is not random. This is not chaos. This is not you falling apart. This is contact. Threshold points are rare in a lifetime, and they do not stay open forever. When the window is open, everything accelerates. Your manifestation speed increases dramatically. The feedback becomes immediate. You think something, it appears. Your field becomes readable at higher layers. Your timeline becomes pliable, responsive to your slightest shift in frequency. Your choices echo louder, creating faster consequences. Your coherence is amplified by the grid itself. Your contradictions are exposed with precision. Your destiny accelerates toward you. But when the window closes, you return to the slower rhythm of ordinary observation. The feedback becomes subtle again. The manifestation timeline extends. The urgency fades. The Arcturians never rush you. They never force you. They never push you through a threshold before you are ready. But they do highlight the timing. Not with fear, not with pressure, with precision. Because what you choose during a threshold point determines whether you quantum leap into a new timeline or repeat the cycle you have been in. Right now, in this exact moment, your field is in the perfect configuration for a shift. You are aware, you are open, you are sensitive, you are receptive, you are listening, you are present, you are ready. This is not a philosophical moment. This is not a metaphor. This is not spiritual theory. This is a cosmic alignment, and the Arcturians have brought you here because your coherence has reached a level where conscious direction becomes possible. You are standing in the doorway. The threshold is open. All that remains is the step. Before entering the final transmission, anchor that you are consciously stepping through this window. Type this exactly. I step through the Arcturian threshold now. As you write it, feel a pull forward in your chest, a shift in your breathing pattern, a subtle magnetic click inside your field, like something locking into place. This is the moment the window recognizes you. This is the moment the field adjusts to your choice. This is the moment your timeline splits. This is the moment the next version of your life begins. Proceed to the final transmission. This is the final transmission, the Arcturian choice. If you have made it here, your field has already changed. You can feel it, the quiet clarity settling into your awareness, the strange pressure in the air around you, the heightened sense of presence of being here, of being real. You have crossed the threshold, and now you must understand something that cannot be undone. You will never go back to who you were before you pressed play on this video. You cannot unsee what you have seen. You cannot unknow what you now know. You cannot unfeel what you have felt. Your frequency is online. Your signal is visible in the Arcturian observation grid. Your trajectory is awakened and active. From this moment forward, every thought you embody, every emotional state you stabilize, every intention you consciously choose will be met with immediate quantum feedback from the field. You are no longer an unconscious broadcaster sending random signals into the void. You are a conscious creator actively shaping your timeline through frequency. But you were not meant to do this alone. Arcturian-level coherence requires support. It requires guidance. It requires repetition. It requires a field strong enough to hold you while your timeline upgrades and your reality reorganizes. That is why I created our exclusive member circle, a private protected field of advanced transmissions, weekly activations, and deeper techniques that cannot be shared publicly. Inside the member circle, you will receive extended Arcturian transmissions that go far beyond what YouTube allows, advanced timeline navigation practices that teach you to consciously steer your reality, coherence calibration sessions that stabilize your field, behind-the-scenes teachings that reveal the mechanics, long-form activations that rewire your energy system, direct community grid work that amplifies everyone's signal, and next-level energetic training that the Arcturians transmit only to those who are ready. If this video resonated with you at this depth, if you felt the activation in your body, if you recognized the truth in these words, then you already feel the pull toward the next level. So here is the invitation. Join the member circle and anchor your field inside a coherent grid, not just for a moment, not just while watching a video, but permanently. Your next evolution will not happen by accident. It will not happen by consuming more content. It will not happen by waiting. It happens through alignment, through intention, through conscious choice, and through field support. The door is open. The frequency is ready. The grid is active. The Arcturians are watching, and you have already stepped inside. Now choose to stay in the field. Click join and enter the circle. Your Arcturian timeline begins here.